what's going on, guys? Green Screen Gaming Trouge here. Welcome back to another reaction. It's been a bit since we've done a reaction, and today we're going to be reacting to BenjaMage's top 10 favorite games of 2022. I haven't really watched, I've played a lot of games throughout 2022, and I haven't watched BenjaMage. I don't even think I really reacted to BenjaMage since I started, doing a lot of these reaction type stuff from time to time. But yeah, the premiere is starting because we got premiere. Also, sorry if the green screen looks kind of crap. There we go. There it is. Sorry if the green screen looks kind of crap. I am still trying to get used to the green screen. So if there's anyone that wants to help fix that, I would be more than willing to listen in and all that fun stuff. I think if I did this, I think it should have worked. At least mitigate it. There's also a giant heckin' window behind me, so I apologize. But yeah, we've played a lot of games in 2022. At least I've played a lot of games. I haven't played a lot of newer games, but BenjaMage, he kind of knows what kind of games he likes, what kind of games that he's into, and so yeah, we're gonna get into this. Again, original video will be in the description down below when it's over, and so yeah. We got ourselves 1 minute left, so I'm probably going to do fancy. Bam! We made it to 30 seconds, and so I did some quick little magic there. And now we are going to be here for 30 seconds as we prepare. And yeah, again, like I said, link in the description for the original video. And yeah, we're going to see how well this does. And maybe I'll do more reactions with the green screen because, I mean, I got this green screen for Christmas, so. Alright, BenjaMage, hit me with your top 10 favorite games of 2022. Let's get it. Let's get it. New theme song? New theme song? Nope. Same. I like it. I like it. Hit us with that familiarity.
Well, I guess this is a yearly tradition now. It's
yes,
kind
it
of
is.
Interesting looking back on 2022 when it comes to video games.
There's also my cat by me.
A lot of games that were planned for release last year ended up getting pushed into 2023.
Yeah.
Which made this year look overstuffed already. My goodness.
Oh, yeah, crap.
There wasn't a lot for 2022 to offer. But the moment you actually look at what the year had, yeah, no, that couldn't be further from the truth.
Oh, yeah, with Splatoon and all that.
Deep to find that 2022's gaming offerings were plenty in a
Yep.
multitude of genres from both the indie scene and even the AAA scene. Heck, all you gotta do is look at some of the games.
Sorry, my cat was right there.
For 2022 and see just how varied they get compared to
yes, the Trombone Simulator.
A fair amount of Elden Ring and God of War on these lists, but details. Now, in my case, I didn't play a huge amount of what 2022 had to offer.
Alright.
This might be one of the only games of 2022 lists that doesn't have Elden Ring or God of War on it.
Ha!
I didn't play either of them, but I still.
Elden Ring is an okay game. Like if he gets around to it, it will be cool.
Platformers, as you'll soon see. But one, we got a lot of really good ones last year, and two, platformers and kart races are kind of what my channel's known for nowadays. So it's pretty on brand. And I didn't play many new kart racers last year, so that only really left me with one option. Though before we get started, I did want to quickly warn that there will be light spoiler talk all throughout. Okay.
At least he warned us.
Start of a segment if I go into deep spoilers, though, just as a heads up.
There we go.
And for those watching the premiere of this who are unable to skip, I apologize.
Alright, let me go blank myself over here.
These are
Let's
my
go.
top 10 favorite games of 2022.
Let's get it. Ooh, I like. Right? I like that. I like that transition.
It's a bad time to admit that I'm not a Ninja Turtles fan, and I don't mean that in a I don't like Ninja Turtles way, but in a I haven't experienced Ninja Turtles before way.
Yes,
I know
same
literally
here.
Nothing about the
Same
series.
here, man.
I do know which turtle is which and what their general archetypes are. I know the basics about the main supporting cast, and I know a few other little things here and there. But I haven't read any of the comics, I haven't watched any of the movies or shows, and prior to 2022, the closest I had gotten to playing a Ninja Turtles game was playing games that they guest star in, like Injustice 2 and the Nickelodeon Kart Racers games. Despite all that, a group of buddies wanted me to try Shredder's Revenge out with them over the summer. And while I may not have a connection to Ninja Turtles, I do enjoy me an old-school arcade-style beat-em-up, so I agreed to play it with them. And man, I'm glad I did. Even for someone with basically no connection to the IP, Shredder's Revenge is a fun time.
Yes, it
Largely
is.
inspired by the 87 cartoon, right down to having the Turtles' voice actors from said cartoon reprising their roles in this, Shredder's Revenge has the Turtles and their friends taking on a multitude of series villains in their mission to stop Shredder and Krang's newest evil plan. And as such, has you traversing all throughout New York City and even another dimension in your pursuit of the enemy. All the while, you're taking down hundreds upon hundreds of Foot Clan robots and other enemies.
Yeah.
All through some really satisfying beat-em-up combat. It's relatively
like,
simple, but with a variety of moves that
like,
each character...
I'm going to pause the premiere because I apologize, but, like, I just need to get this out of the way. I didn't really experience Ninja Turtles like that. My only real connection is the 2012 show, which that show is still pretty good to this day. I think it's my favorite one. But not to say the other ones are trash, but those are the only ones. And then I watched one of the movies, but keep on.
And even more
actually, both the movies.
As you level up,
I watched a little bit of it, but I'm not a diehard fan. Like, I like them, but, like, I'm not, like, yeah.
Here and there to keep things feeling fresh, particularly set-piece wise. But of course, the big selling point of this game is the co-op.
Yeah. This game's co-op is amazing, by the way.
For one, there are actually additional abilities that require your co-op partners to execute, so playing co-op gives you more to work with in that regard. But even beyond that, this is just one of those kind of games that's just made to be played with friends.
Yeah, 100%.
The game all together in a single session, and we had a really fun time powering through Shredder's forces as a team. And to anyone curious, I played as Splinter for our playthrough, largely so I wouldn't blend in with the other turtles during gameplay. Not that it ended up making a big difference with how much is going on screen at one time. The game smartly includes a button that allows you to quickly see where you are in the chaos. So those moments where I couldn't find my character were on the lesser side. And this is all on top of the game's fantastic sprite work and the amazing soundtrack.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Only T. Lopes alongside several guest
yeah, T. Lopes did a fantastic job.
In that regard, though, is that one of my favorite YouTube musicians, Johnny Atma, not only provided much of the soundtrack's guitar recordings, but even sings one of the game's best songs, Panic in the Sky. Point is, whether you've got a personal connection to the Ninja Turtles or not, Shredder's Revenge makes for a fun arcadey time. Especially if you've got some friends to play along with.
100%.
If you are a Ninja Turtles fan, I imagine there's plenty of love letter elements all throughout. Heck, even with my minimal knowledge, I was able to catch on some pretty clever ones. Like taking the iconic Big Apple 3 AM from Turtles in Time, and now making a 3 PM variant. I see what you did there.
I like that. Alright, Ninja Turtles 10. Alright. What is the... Ooh, leaves?
You know, it's at times like this that I'm happy that I decided to wait until January to put out this video. Sure, one could argue that having a Games of the Year video out for the end of December makes for a nice year wrap-up, but not only are my Decembers usually pretty busy as is, but if I did aim to get this video out for December, any last-minute game releases would have basically had no chance of being considered. And then a game like Little Gator Game wouldn't have
wait, is that a Naruto gut? Like, Gator? I don't know why I said I don't know my mouth moved.
A little Gator, who used to play a big imaginary fantasy game with his older sister. But with her now in college and caught up in her assignments, she doesn't have that spare time she used to have. But ever wanting to have those fun times again, Little Gator, whom I named Kremlin, I had Donkey Kong Country.
I love that. I love that.
Fantasy game with his friends and hopefully make it look as fun as possible to convince his older sister to join. It's a simple premise, but the game does quite a lot with it, particularly in character relations. There were several points of the game where things hit a more personal note than I was expecting, especially with Lil Gator and his older sister. Being the youngest of my siblings, and having been through time-consuming post-secondary studies, I totally understand and relate to both of their perspectives, and it made the ending especially hit me pretty hard. Though to clarify, while the game does tackle some pretty relatable subjects, it does so in a very wholesome and heartwarming manner. Heck, Little Gator Game in general just oozes wholesome charm.
Yeah, I can definitely tell. I can definitely tell.
In a way I've seen very few games do before. Between the genuinely funny character interactions, the vibrant Wind Waker-esque visual style, the cozy soundtrack, and even in how the game itself plays. It's a Zelda-like adventure game, having you explore the vast wilderness of the islands the game's set on, completing
I dig his headband. I dig the headband.
And unlock additional items. But it tackles all this in a way that suits the premise of this being an imaginary fantasy adventure. Like, the currency you collect is bits of cardboard and confetti. All the enemies are just cardboard cutouts who don't move or hurt you. There's no fall damage or anything like that. Heck, you actually can't take any damage in this game, because as the devs themselves put it, children are invincible.
I love that. I love how they're self-aware with that. Children are invincible.
It's certainly not a boring experience. You'll find yourself floating up with a piece of bubble gum, or surfing around on one of those plastic gym-class scooter boards, you know the ones, or gliding above the skies with a t-shirt, or my personal favorite, ragdolling.
Yes.
There's an item that allows you to go into ragdoll with the press of a button.
I love that.
No functional purpose in the game, but it's also the best item in the game. Though it is a pretty short experience, My playthrough took just over 3 hours, and it sounds like 100%ing the game doesn't take much longer than that. But honestly, I don't think that's a bad thing. Especially with a game like this, it definitely could have felt like it overstayed its welcome if it went on for too long.
It definitely feels like a cozy game. I want to try this game out now.
Games out there nowadays are constantly demanding dozens to hundreds of hours. It's nice to play something that doesn't require ages worth of your time to get the full experience.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm honestly finding that a lot more appealing nowadays, as you saw with the last entry, and as you'll see again with some later entries on this list. But yeah,
I gotcha.
Adventure that's short,
we always need a cozy adventure.
The Gator game is a great choice for that kind of experience. Also, the game briefly becomes Ace Attorney for one of the quest lines, and it's beautiful.
That is funny. Alright, spoilers head Cuphead. Ooh, okay.
I debated for a while on whether I should consider this for the list or not. After all, this isn't a full new game. It's a DLC expansion for a game that came out back in 2017. But honestly, reflecting on everything new I played from 2022, this genuinely was one of my favorites of said gaming experiences.
Okay, 1 second real quick. Like, I get, like, the whole, like, it's, like, came out in 2017, so it's, like, here. But honestly, with the amount of stuff that Delicious Last Course added, I feel like it deserved to be its own game at some point. But that's just me. I don't know.
Plus, I did put Deltarune Chapter 2 on my Games of 2021.
I remember that.
So I'm officially allowing myself one post-launch candidate per Game of the Year video. There, it's official. But yeah, the wait for the Delicious Last Course had actually been quite a lengthy one, but also for understandable reasons. That old-school style of hand-drawn animation that Cuphead utilizes, let alone for more than double the frame per second count that cartoons usually go at, it's not a quick process, coupled with Studio MDHR's desire to avoid crunch time and, well, 2020 happening.
That's true.
The DLC went from a planned 2019 release to an eventual 2022 release. But my goodness, did Studio MDHR make that wait worth it. With the DLC taking place outside of the main game's story and focusing on a new adventure on a new island, it gives itself a lot of creative freedom, which, my goodness, it takes full advantage of. No longer are you collecting soul contracts for the devil, now you're gathering up ingredients for a magical wonder tart to bring your friend Miss Chalice permanently into living form again. And getting said ingredients will have you going up against some of the best bosses Cuphead's had to offer.
Yeah.
Like, it could probably be debated a bit, but in my opinion at least, the Delicious Last Course doesn't add a single bad boss to the game's lineup.
Fact. You're spitting facts. Like, this legit. Like, I haven't beaten Cuphead, the original, like, game, but me and an old roommate used to spend hours playing Cuphead, and definitely, I can just say without a doubt that these are some of the best well-made boss fights I've ever played in a video game.
At worst, you've got a couple
in the platformer, I should say.
But the vast majority of them are great.
But they do kick your butt hard.
Strengths, or finding unique ways to twist up the formula, or cleverly reviving previously cut concepts, or just going absolutely nuts with the ways the fights progress. Seriously, there's a reason I did that Cuphead bosses video after the DLC came out. There were just too many fantastic new fights that I wanted to gush about.
Definitely the last guy was like crazy.
Fights, the Delicious Last Course adds quite a bit to the overall Cuphead experience. With several new weapons and charms, the Converge and Crack Shot have become my go-to weapons for the game now, and especially with the inclusion of Miss Chalice as a playable character, who I do actually prefer playing as over Cuphead and Mugman, even if her parry being a dash makes some parries from the main game harder to do. And this is all on top of Cuphead's already amazing animation now being heightened even further, with bosses like the Howling Aces and Chef Saltbaker being some of the best this game has to offer visually.
Yep.
And the music. I already gushed about this in the Cuphead bosses video, but the way the new pieces experiment in mixing in big band with other styles of music makes for an incredible soundtrack.
Yeah, 100%.
Even before the DLC came out, that I love Cuphead. But man, the Delicious Last Course seriously amplified that love. Whatever Studio MDHR has planned next, game-wise, whether that be a Cuphead 2 or something entirely different,
I would love to see another game but with like this art style, like the old school, like old Disney. Oh, hello?
So remember how for a while, a lot of indie games were going out of their way to recreate the look and feel of NES games, and then did the same for SNES and Genesis games? Well, right now, we seem to be in the midst of that for N64, Sega Saturn, and PS1 games, with several 3D indie games going for visual styles similar to what you'd see on those three consoles. And having grown up playing a lot of games from that generation of consoles, I am loving this trend, especially with how many indie platformers have been doing this. We actually got several indie 3D platformers last year that fit into this archetype. My favorite of which being Lunistis.
Lunistis?
A 3D platformer that leans more into the PS1 and Saturn side of the era, and I mean that in the best way possible. Lunistis has you playing as a tanuki named Hana, venturing through a dreamscape formed from her memories as she journeys to the moon. Simple enough premise on paper, if a bit zany, but there's actually a lot more to the story than initially believed. As you progress through the game, you suddenly are able to start collecting these notes that unlock messages from the past, revealing tidbits about Hana's backstory and the lore behind why exactly she's doing what she's doing. I won't go into details here on the specifics, but it did make for a fascinating read and did build upon my enjoyment.
That is crazy. Like, I really love how this game looks. I didn't even heard this game. Like, this is a good like just plays like good game to put on this list.
What ultimately sells this game is, well, the gameplay. I've seen a fair few people compare Lunistis primarily to Sonic the Hedgehog, and while there definitely is some Sonic in its blood, I don't think that's an entirely accurate picture of what the game's like. It feels more inspired by games from this era as a whole, rather than one specific title or series.
Yeah.
Either way, with the game taking place across a dream
I could definitely
based
see
on
that.
Hana's memories, the levels have a lot of room for creativity, both in regards to setting and design, and it's something the game absolutely takes full advantage of. One world, you'll be traversing shrines from Hana's home, another you'll be zipping along and riding water slides in an amusement park, or you can find yourself hopping through a world of comfort food that moves in a set rhythm. You'll face a bunch of
that definitely reminds me of like 3D Land, Mario 3D Land.
Fresh and fun all throughout. Top that with Hana controlling great and having a simple but satisfying moveset that makes the whole platforming process as fun as it is. And with the previously mentioned sense of flow and speed, I wouldn't be surprised if this game got a following among speedrunners.
I want to play this now. I legit want to play this now.
Time your runs through the levels. Also, this game is only $5, and like, I do get why.
Whoa.
It's not a particularly long game, but even still, that feels like robbery for how good this game is. So yeah, if you want to try a fun 3D
yes,
that captures
dude.
the look and feel of that
Heck yeah.
PS1 Sega Saturn era very nicely, coupled with some interesting story lore and a pretty nice soundtrack too, it'll only cost you $5 to do so. And if you're still not 100% sure, the game's got a demo too, so no harm in giving that a try at least.
Stream, maybe?
That hasn't convinced you yet, the game's got some alternate playable characters you unlock once you beat the game, one of which being Tori. Now granted, he's got less health than Hana and can't attack, so playing as him is basically...
I'm over hearing him a lot on Ben's channel throughout this past year.
Sunglasses. What more could you ask for? Well, apparently you can ask for more because the developer has already announced that he's doing a Lunistis 2.
Ooh, okay.
Very excited.
Heck yeah. That's pretty good. Okay, spoils ahead. What? Kirby in the Forgotten Lands. Okay.
I'll fully admit that I haven't played a ton of Kirby games, especially in comparison to many others in the YouTube gaming circle, but thanks to the renaissance of sorts he had in the 2010s with games like Return to Dreamland, Triple Deluxe, and Planet Robobot, I have gradually been getting more into the series. Granted, yes, I'm still very much scratching the surface, but hey.
Me and you both.
Because of my growing interest in Kirby, though, the announcement of Kirby and the Forgotten
I still need to play
Land
Amazing
had my
Muir.
attention right off the bat. I mean, first ever mainline Kirby game that was fully in 3D. That was a pretty big deal. Sure, it's been a long time coming, but regardless, here we are. It's honestly kind of crazy just how well Kirby nailed the jump to 3D on the first go, perfectly capturing that same feel of the previous mainline Kirby games on a Z-axis. But even not factoring in the, whoa, it's in 3D aspect of the game, it's just a really solid game overall. For one, Forgotten Land probably has the greatest main collectible of any collectible-centric platformer I've ever played. Move aside, Power Stars, this game has you progressing by saving Waddle Dees. Beyond that, the ways Forgotten Land changed
I love that.
I found quite enjoyable.
Now, I will admit, my brother did in fact get this game, and I do plan on playing it at some point. But I just don't, I haven't played much of it. I played the demo. If I remember there was a demo. Was there a demo? I might have played a demo. I remember like playing it either at a demo on my Switch or if it was a demo kiosk at the Best Buy near me.
I really liked the upgradable copy abilities.
But it was pretty good. Pretty good.
For the smaller lineup of copy abilities, and the ways each new form changed things up so much from one another that it didn't always feel like an outright replacement of the last, was a good call. Like, even after I unlocked the Space Ranger, I still preferred using the Noble Ranger that you unlock earlier on. But also, like the last few mainline Kirby games, Forgotten Lands got itself a big one-off gimmick. And as cursed as it can be, Mouthful Mode's one of the best of these.
The guy from Ed and Eddie.
Shout
out to Sonic.
Sure, the general world themes are your standard grass world, beach world, ice world, fire world, etc. But the specific locations you go to really keep it feeling fresh. Like, you're traversing overgrown cities, frozen over cities, abandoned shopping malls and amusement parks, a desert junkyard wasteland. The game's environments really capture that feeling of exploring Well, a forgotten land. Couple that with some really fun boss fights, including a superb arena duel with Meta Knight, a King DDD fight backed by the now best rendition of his iconic theme. Seriously, Roar of DDD is fantastic. And the absolute wild ride that is the final boss. Seriously, what other game's final boss has you go from running from a survival horror monster to dueling the creature in its complete form on a rooftop, and then finishing off the creature with a big rig? Kirby final bosses in general in the past decade or so have gradually gotten pretty crazy and memorable, and Fecto Elphalus is certainly no exception to that. And while I haven't done the post-game content yet,
that is crazy.
It does add to the game's mix of craziness and fun. But even from just playing the main game, I've had a superb time with Forgotten.
This makes me want to play Kirby now. Like, holy crap!
Excited for where HAL Labs will be taking the series in the future.
Number 5. Sway.
Hey. No secret in the past, I'm really fond of cats. My family and I have had pet cats for pretty much my entire life, so I've got a pretty big attachment to these little guys. So when you announce that you're making a game about exploring a dystopian cyberpunk city from the perspective of a cat, yeah, you've got my curiosity.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I wasn't necessarily super hyped for Stray leading up to its release, but it remained on my radar as something I might enjoy.
Apparently one like game like
Storm after launch, I gave it a go myself, and well, it's up at number 5 on this for a reason. The premise of Stray is simple. You're a stray cat who accidentally falls into an underground walled city, with your goal being to find a way out. But along the way, you find yourself exploring this vast world long abandoned.
I really like this music, though.
Inhabitants consisting of robots that imitate human behavior in their day-to-day lives, and the terrifying Zerks that eat away at both organic and robotic life. All the while, you help a little drone named B12, short for Blue 12, the dev team behind this game, I imagine.
I love that.
Memories while it helps you communicate with the robot residents. So first and foremost, I love the way this game looks. I know I've previously said that hyper-realistic visuals don't really do it for me, but I think there is a right way to make it interesting. And my goodness, the Wall City is certainly interesting. Whether it be the neon-lit streets or the darker, desolate alleyways and ruins, Stray's world is very visually captivating.
I do have to agree.
It simultaneously feels ominous, hostile, but also beautiful and comforting at times. And I think what helps with it feeling this way is the scale of it all.
Yeah.
Just how small you are in this case. Like, it'd be one thing to explore this world as an ordinary person, or even as one of the robots, but you're not either. You're a cat. And that's where the gameplay hook comes in. As a cat, you're exploring this world in ways you'd never be able to as someone human-sized. And the game really takes full advantage of that with its level and puzzle design.
That's pretty cool.
Developers clearly understood cats to a great degree. For example, you can't just jump willy-nilly like most other games. Every jump made is deliberate, and as such can only be done when prompted. I like this. It feels very in nature with how cats are.
Yeah, definitely. They attacked me twice during this reaction itself. They just kept jumping on top of me.
Puzzles throughout. There's also a dedicated meow button, which you can even use during cutscenes. This game is perfect.
Yes.
It may all sound like this is just a casual cat simulator, but it's actually a linear, story-driven adventure game. You're going to be getting involved in the lives of these robots, helping them through their troubles while they help you get closer to leaving the walled city. You're going to be collecting items and showing them to the city's residents to help you progress forward. You're going to be going to various parts of this dystopian world on your journey. And above all else, you're going to deal with lots of Zerks. Even when you enter the Zerk nest with the means to destroy them, it was still really unnerving.
Yeah, I can imagine. That looks creepy.
And I usually really dislike how stealth sections in non-stealth games are handled. Like others on this list, Stray isn't a particularly long game, but I think its length is just right for the kind of experience it is.
Yeah.
Especially so for its more emotional moments later on to hit their mark pretty accurately. I had a feeling I was going to enjoy Stray, but little did I know just how much I was going to enjoy it. The one thing I personally would have liked out of it, though, is a cat customizer that allowed you to make the cat look how you wish. So you could theoretically make the cat look like your own. Ah well, that's what PC mods are for.
Yep, of course. Spoilers ahead, what do we got? Number 4. Oh! Live Alive!
I'm gonna be up front.
I've never played this.
I knew basically nothing about Live Alive. All I knew about it was that it was a Square game on the Super Famicom that never got localized.
I totally forgot that this game came out this year.
The ever-iconic Megalovania. Because of that, while the announcement of the Live Alive remake at the February 2022 Nintendo Direct was exciting to see for those fans,
I totally forgot that this game was this year. Oh, last year, I should say.
Announcements like Klonoa Fantasy Reverie and the Booster Course Pass. But as we got closer to the remake's release, I learned more about the game and started to get more intrigued. I'd also been meaning to play through an RPG again, as I admittedly haven't been playing them much in the last little while. So once it was out and I saw it got really positive reception, I decided to give it a go. And, yeah, I absolutely see why this game has the cult following it's had all these years. For one, I really like Live Alive's combat system. The partly turn-based, partly real-time grid system makes for a unique and fun spin on RPG combat. And while sure, the combat mechanics beyond this are on the simpler side, I actually felt that worked to the game's benefit. Battles never felt too overcomplicated, while also not feeling too overly simple thanks to the nature of the grid and the charge time bars, giving room to strategize who, when, and how to strike. But
that's pretty cool.
System feel fresh,
kind of reminds me of Pokemon Conquest on the DS.
As many of you likely know, Live Alive's main hook is that, instead of one ongoing story, it separates itself into several mini-stories that take place across multiple time periods, with each chapter finding its own unique way to twist on the standard gameplay formula. One chapter will have you playing as a Wild West gunslinger who specializes in attacking from a distance, while another chapter will have you playing as a martial artist who learns the special attacks he's hit by. But the variation isn't limited to just battles, as each chapter overall finds its own way to stand out from the others. One chapter will have you playing as a psychic who's able to read the minds of every character he comes across, gaining further insight on their true feelings on a situation. One chapter has you stealthing through a heavily guarded fortress, while allowing you to either go full pacifist or full genocidal on the fortress's guards.
That's pretty cool.
A story with no dialogue, using character emotions and body language to tell the story.
I love that.
The martial arts consists entirely of one-on-one battles, serving as a giant Street Fighter homage. And on the flip side, one chapter has basically no battles, instead being almost entirely driven by the dialogue and puzzles.
That's so good.
Vary in quality, with some of its less good chapters being noticeably so. The Edo Japan chapter kind of sucked in my opinion. But the good definitely outweighs the bad here. And the good here is really good. And I won't go into the story reasons as to why this happens, but the way the game ties the various stories together is really well done. With that partly being the reason why the final chapter is my favorite in the game. Actually, to those curious, here are my personal rankings of the game's chapters.
I love that. Wait.
Here are my personal rankings.
Okay, so we got final chapter, the Imperial Japan, the Middle Ages as loved, distant future and present day are really liked, liked is near future and Wild West, the prehistory is okay, and the Edo Japan does not. Alright.
Also, Lei was my team leader for the final chapter, hence why she's representing it here.
I love that.
The game's presentation. I am loving that Square Enix has been using its HD 2D engine so much these past few years.
Yes, I do too. I really love this.
Benefits from this visual style. Like, my goodness, this game is utterly gorgeous at so many points. And the way the newer hardware is used to expand on concepts from the original. Like, the near future chapter's got a full-blown anime intro now. And don't even get me started on the music. The original Live Alive was the first of many Square games composed by the now legendary Yoko Shimomura. And she was brought back to orchestrate and arrange the soundtrack for the remake. And to no surprise,
okay. Yoko Shimomura kind of she's one of my favorite composers here in the music scene. Like, she can make a bop. She can make some bops. I didn't know she did this game's soundtrack. That's a plus. That's a plus, and that's.
Going to, of course, the game's major boss theme, Megalomania. The original was already a great piece, but this redone version is just it's so good. All in all, I 100% see why there was so much hype behind the remake when it first got announced. Because my goodness, Live Alive is amazing.
It looks way good.
The 16-bit Square RPG that was directed by Takashi Tokita has gotten the super solid remake. Might we see another 16-bit Square RPG that was directed by Takashi Tokita get the same treatment?
Please.
Pretty please?
Please. Chrono Trigger's amazing. No spoiler ahead. Oh. Free plant.
My goodness, this was a long time.
Okay. I have plans of doing it today. Follow me on Twitch. Probably by the time this uploads, I will have already streamed the first game. But yeah, I'm planning on playing these games, and I definitely have seen a lot with Free and Planet 2 through streams and through other stuff. So I want to know what BenjaMage thinks about this. I don't know why I said his name like that.
I don't think I've ever actually directly talked about it on my channel before, but I quite liked the original Freedom Planet. First releasing in 2014, it was a fun Sonic-like adventure with some changes here and there to make it feel a bit more like its own experience. And while it had its issues, particularly in some of its design choices and especially the inconsistent tone of the story, it was an enjoyable time regardless.
I still need to go
see
that.
Well for itself, as only a year later, at the end of 2015, Freedom Planet 2 was announced and revealed via a pretty cool cinematic trailer. Now, I want you all to take that in. Freedom Planet 2 was first revealed in 2015, and it came out last year. I know games are far from the easiest or quickest things to make. Trust me, I know this firsthand. But even still, it is kind of wild that it took 7 years for this game to see the light of day. That said, having played it last year, it's definitely clear the devs at Galaxy Trail weren't just twiddling their thumbs that whole time. This game gets pretty nuts for an indie 2D platformer, both in its visuals and its elaborate set pieces. But don't let that fool you into thinking this is all style and no substance. Freedom Planet 2 greatly expands on the first game's gameplay, keeping that mix of high-speed action and combat that the first game had.
I did see a
fair
lot
amount of polish,
I did see
on the combat side of things.
Yeah, the combat looks
One,
very
often felt like
fresh.
you had too little to work with moveset-wise for what was expected, but that's definitely not a problem in the second game, with each character having expanded movesets and a guarding system that makes taking on enemies and bosses far less of an issue than it sometimes became in the first game. And that's another thing, the character playstyles were greatly expanded and improved too.
I can't wait to actually play the first game so I can actually play the second game, but I definitely have been hearing a lot about these games within the past year or so.
Hits anymore, so you actually have a chance to enjoy using it. In fact, I honestly preferred playing as Carol over Lilac this time around, which was not a reality I was expecting. Like, let me put it this way. How many games do you know of that let you kick a motorcycle at a boss for the finishing blow? And like I mentioned earlier, the set pieces these levels have get insane, and many of them don't even get heavily reused. Each of the levels feels so distinct from one another as a result, and while not every level hits that same peak as the others, a majority of them do, and it's a high peak. Same applies with the boss fights in the game. Like, you do have some fairly
I have seen some boss fights, again, shoutouts to the Mobian game, but
not just in the Freedom
yeah.
Planet series, but among 2D platformers in general. The rematch against Karazhan in the final world in particular is up there as one of my favorite bosses in games in general now. The set piece of the second phase especially was just spectacular. Also on that note, the story is much better this time too. For one, I really like the story arc structure it goes for, allowing you to tackle each set of storylines in the order you wish before they all come together.
Oh, so
And
kind
on
of
top
like
that, the writing has gotten quite a bit better, with far less tonal
Kinda like Both
whiplash
by
than
Sleep.
before. It's still got its funny moments. Heck, it's actually got some really funny moments.
what?
Come in. How is Mayor Zhao's luxurious sky palace?
I remember this. I remember seeing this in Zonic's playthrough.
He's fine.
But the
I love that.
even darker than the first games, believe it or not. Tackling subjects like prejudice, genocide, and erasing of history to fit a specific narrative. And yet it balances these with the lighter side of the writing way better than the first game.
Okay.
And this is all on top of the superb visuals, helping give the game more of a distinct visual identity beyond its Sonic roots. And in my opinion at least, the soundtrack's even better than before, with Dragon Valley, Shade Armory, and Magma Starscape being particular favorites among the OST. It may have taken quite a while for it to come out since its announcement, but the wait for Freedom Planet 2 was definitely worth it. The one unfortunate thing about it though is that it launched on the same day that we got hit by both a Nintendo Direct and a Sony State of Play, so it didn't get nearly the attention it might
I
have if it
remember
did
both
have
of
that
those.
competition. But apparently it has still been doing well, so that's great to see.
Yeah, heck yeah. Okay, we got 2. Yeah, oh no. Should I fast forward? I think I'm going to fast forward. I'm sorry, Ben. Okay, I wait. Okay, I'll go right here. Okay, there we go. I don't want to see anything with the story. I apologize, Ben. I love you, bro. But I'm definitely happy that it's at least number 2, man. I'm playing through the game on my Twitch again. Shameless plug. But yeah, let's get onto with
Here to
it.
be a Sonic fan. And between the upcoming free updates for Frontiers, including alternate playable characters, heck yes, and confirmation that Frontiers is going to be the groundwork for upcoming Sonic games, for the first time in a while, the future's looking bright for this series.
Alright. And this is Spark 3. Yeah, I called it. I knew it was going to be Spark 3.
That I'd spend much of 2022 with this series living rent-free in my head, but hey, sometimes that's just how things be. While I had heard good things about them beforehand, I was still pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed Spark the Electric Jester 1 and 2 when I played through them at the start of last year. And with a third game already being in development at that point, and with a demo no less, I was excited to see where it would end up going.
Yeah.
Little did I know that it ended up launching just a few months later, and little did I know just how much I was going to love it. Taking a lot
Devil
of
May
what
Cry
Sonic
of
did and
platformers.
expanding on it, while returning the player character role back to Spark himself, Spark the Electric Jester 3 ended up going above and beyond my
I actually really liked playing this game on stream. I want to try to get this again.
Alone. Like a Sonic Adventure-inspired indie platformer with Devil May Cry-inspired beat-em-up combat, you had me at hello. As I've gone over before in videos, I'm the type who doesn't mind a platformer switching up the gameplay style so long as it's well executed.
Yeah,
and Spark
same
3's
here.
combat is definitely well executed. Juggling enemies and stringing together long, intricate combos, especially with mid-combo character swapping, never stopped being a ton of fun for me in this game. I did that double trigger combo montage in my review for a reason, and I'll gladly do it again. But just as equally so, the platforming is super satisfying, with plenty of high-speed action that isn't super automated. Heck, you're often able to skip the few automated points altogether if you've got the skill for it. Spark's platforming moveset on the surface may seem simple, but the tools you have at your disposal allow for some incredibly crazy maneuvers in the right hands. Seriously, just to give you an idea of what I mean, the game's developer, Lake Feppard, held a Spark 3 skill contest last year, and I'd highly recommend giving it a full watch, because the techniques many of these submissions showed off were ridiculous. Speedruns for this game are going to be a blast to watch, that's for sure. And all this is coupled with some super solid level design, with a multitude of memorable environments and obstacles that are a thrill to make your way through. Reality-defying planetariums, prisons being set on fire, planes falling apart mid-flight. There's a ton of unique set pieces to traverse. Heck, even its vehicle levels are fun. I know I said I don't mind switched up gameplay and platformers, but vehicle levels are something that are really easy to mess up. But Lake Feppard nailed it.
Yeah.
And on that note, to acknowledge a point from my original review video, I have no idea how I missed the dash button prompt when flying the airship. It's definitely a more fun gameplay portion now that I know this dash button exists. Though hey, not wanting to drive or fly an airship? No problem. You can go on foot these portions too. Won't always be easy, but it's possible. But of course, one of the biggest highlights of Spark 3 by
Is the
far
story.
is its story.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a super active story going on during the gameplay itself, granted, but the way it fleshes out the lore, storyline, and characters of the previous Spark games is really well done. And it all leads to one of the most memorable finales I've ever experienced in a video game. From the shocking plot revelations, to the superb penultimate boss that further ties the trilogy together from a gameplay standpoint, which is admittedly followed up by a pretty underwhelming final boss, but the ridiculous final power form you get from this is worth it at least.
Yo!
And that final concluding cutscene. It's an unforgettable finale, to say the least. I could go on way longer about how much I love Spark 3, but you know what? I've got a whole video already where I did that. If you want to hear me talk about this masterpiece more, you
Plug
can
in
check out
his
my full review
plug
on it.
channel,
But
plug
even
channel,
then,
plug
this
channel.
game's gotten more since that review. A free update occurred that not only added new equippable items to the shop, but also added every level from Spark 2 as a post-game reward.
Whoa,
And there's gonna be
okay.
more DLC in the future. So yeah,
Okay.
long story short,
That's
Spark
kinda
3 was a
lit.
wild
That's kinda
ride that I
lit.
loved the whole way through. And while it may not end up being the final Spark game, Lake Feppard's talked about potentially doing a Spark 4, and I would absolutely love to see how that play out.
Same
if
here.
the pre-story ended. I'd be perfectly content if Lake Feppard did decide to end the series here. Because man, this was wonderful. No contest for me at least. Spark the Electric Jester 3 is my favorite game of 2022.
Yeah.
Also, between this and Kaze and the Wild Masks, that's now 2 years in a row that my game of the year was a Brazilian-made indie platformer. I think I have a type. And
Nice.
that brings us now to the end of this video.
That was pretty good. I like the list. Definitely, I'm sorry to like miss your Sonic stuff, but I liked it.
But now it's time to look forward to 2023. What sort of things do I have in store for the new year? Well, as it turns out, this video you're watching right now is the 49th episode of this main video series of mine.
Really?
The next one will be the big episode 50. I think it'd be fun to do something special for the occasion, but we'll see what I end up going with. I don't currently have an idea set in stone for it though, so if you want to suggest something for that, I'm all ears.
Alright.
With that said, I think it's about time to wrap this up. This has been BenjaMage. Thank you all for watching, and until the next video, have a nice day, everybody.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. Alright. So that was a way good list video, countdown video. I think it's called countdowns. I really love it. It was way good. I definitely did not expect Sonic Frontiers to be that high on the list. I kind of thought it was probably going to be at least 4 from the way he was talking about it just in the chat before I started recording and everything. But it was a good video. It was a good video, and I can't wait to go see what else you have in store for you, mates. Thank you guys so very much. Link to the original video down below to go and check that out. Also, thank you guys so very much for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic night, and as always, keep gaming.